Good morning. Welcome to Hack Shack Studios. RT Bear here, and hope you're all having a good morning. I'm a little behind here. Mornings, I get up early, but I'm never really prepared. I got to wake up slowly, so it always takes me a little bit of time. But I'm glad you guys are all here. So a sign of life is always good. So if you could in the chat, give me a sign of life, meaning type in, say hello, ask questions. We are going to do a hacks chat for you guys. I haven't done one of these in a while, so this is going to be fun. We got Phil Diaz in here, and he's got a new book, and it's called Psycho Slumber from the Lost Pages. It's going to be a badass enjoyment. It's going to be a badass enjoyment. I wanted to say read in there somewhere, but I couldn't get it out. Yeah, it's going to be a little slow, so I'll probably let Phil do most of the talking because it's not in the cards for me. Oh man, we got Jav Stylor. What's up, brother? We got a leg kick. Good morning, Art T Bear. Yeah. And before I get Phil in here, I wanted to show this to you guys. We had a little bit of drama with the Oodles of Doodles and Other Stuff 2 campaign. And what happened is Indiegogo, we went from the live campaign to in demand. And so I guess Indiegogo starts evaluating things in a deeper way, which is strange before they pay you out. And so we had some backers early in the campaign that I guess in demand decided were a little. I guess they had to put them under a microscope and look into, if they're good people or not. And so what they did is they not only, we're looking into, I guess these backers, but they also deducted that amount from the total. So I know that some of you were asking, like, why is it 12K, 12,462 and not 14? Are we going to get our stretch goal? Because at the 14K was the stretch goal. And so I did, I let you guys know, but not everybody watches every live stream and all that stuff. So I just want to let everybody know that we did go from that 12. We got all those backers back. Indiegogo contacted me, was it yesterday or the day before, and told me that we got it back. So they worked out the problems. And so we're back where we should be. That really, I did a live stream. I was really upset about that because I don't think companies like this should be able to mess with your money like that. And these were good people. These were people that back all the Comicsgate books. They support me, and I just hate to see good, honest, hardworking people kind of treated like criminals, actually. So anyway. We're back to where we should be. So this stretch goal right here, you guys, the 14K stretch goal is yours. So there will be 4 new pages added to the 60 pages of gloriousness that was the book. It will now be 64 pages of gloriousness. That will be this new Oodles of Doodles and Other Stuff 2 version of the book. So this is 4 images that you will expect or can expect on these 4 new pages. So there'll be more images than this added for sure. But I just wanted to update you guys, and also just know that there's still time to get in here and back a book. A couple of you guys were saying that funds were a little tight. You're waiting for the next check, things like that. So we're in demand now. So I'm not sure how long it's going to be in demand, but it is in demand right now. So you guys can save up and get in here when you have the funds. Don't go crazy. Don't spend money you don't have. But I do appreciate you guys holding on, saving, and getting in here. It is going to be a glorious, amazing book. You guys will enjoy it. I know this is 40 years in the making. So the art of me, oodles of doodles, and other stuff too is now in demand. So let's stop sharing, get back. And I do believe our guests of honor are here. But let me make sure I touch base with everybody. Let's see what Leg Kick says. Hey, Art, did you see the new Batman cows by? Yeah, I saw those. Somebody posted. They look kind of cool. Not as cool as mine, but still kind of cool. Auntie Entity, what's up? Hiya, hiya, hoya. Hiya, hiya, hoya. Oh, man, we got a genius in the house. We got some genius comics. Hello, Art. Hell chat. All right, enough shenanigans. Let's get this hacks chat on the way. We got two guests. We got Phil with two big L's in his name, and Adam Lawson as our guest today, and they're going to talk about their new book, Psycho Slumber: Lost Pages. So, without further ado, let's get Phil Diaz in here. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up?
Whoa.
Can you hear me? Am I too loud?
Really? Yeah, really loud.
Let's see. Let me lower my volume here.
Yeah, move that mic away from you.
Too excited. Let me do this. How about that? How's that?
Turn down. I like to yell more. Yeah.
What if I automatically adjust the volume? How's that?
Talk again.
Hello.
Perfect.
Hello. All right, cool.
Perfect. So, are you a morning guy, Phil?
I am today.
I'm a morning guy, but I usually get right to work, right? So then my brain just has to go into work. But all this other stuff, it gets crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, that, and I'm like 80 years old, so.
No.
Oh, man, it's good to see you, brother. It's been too long.
Yeah. We had you on the Diaz Brothers show, but before that, man, it was so long. Yeah. But thanks for having me on.
Oh, no problem. The new book looks great. So you're going to have to introduce your partner in crime. I've seen Adam around. I think I've live streamed with him before, but never in this capacity. So this will be good. We'll get to know all about Adam Lawson. So here he is. What's up, brother?
Boom. Hey, good to have you. Yeah, good. I said good to be on the show. Art, you know, it's funny because I got Black and White, and you're right. It's been maybe 2 years that we were on a stream once together. I think it was over with Billy. So it's rad to be back. And obviously, yes, Phil is indeed my partner in crime, or I'm his. I like to say this is what we've done. We've taken my book, The Kill Journal, a slasher horror story, and his book, The Lost Pages, and just slammed them together.
It's a crossover
to build Psycho Slumber. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of smashing things.
Yeah, you have a lot of aggression.
Boom.
You have a hidden aggression there, Art.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I'm a drummer. I like to hit things.
That's true. Yeah.
The peaceful artist is just a ruse here. We know who you are.
I actually asked my wife, there's nothing peaceful about me. I am anarchy. I just do it naturally too. Yeah. My mom used to say the T in T Bear stands for trouble. So there you go.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Well, you have that rock and roll lifestyle. It's good.
You know, I was the sane one in all the bands I was in, believe it or not.
Oh no, that's trouble.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Art, yesterday was my birthday, and my brother got me a like, I should run and go get it. It's a Kiss album, but it's like a best of, but it's like all chrome. The whole album is chrome inside and out.
Platinum.
Yeah, it's badass.
Is it the platinum one? Does it fold out?
Yeah, it's like double-sided. And then like the faces inside don't look like any of the members of Kiss. Like whoever drew them, it looks nothing like them.
The type.
Is the one that's kind of embossed, where the images are embossed?
Yeah, let me go run and grab it. It's in the other room.
Yeah, I think that's the platinum album. Yeah, and those images don't look anything like the band members.
Of course.
Yeah, but you know what? At some point, it's good to put out a platinum hits album to let everybody know that you sold a lot of music. You know.
Yes. You know, it's fun because I'm in Toronto shooting a commercial for Snickers, and our production partner got us a gift, and they got me a record.
Oh, cool.
It's the weekend.
Oh, nice.
And it so happens in this hotel they have record players in the room.
Oh, cool.
What?
Yeah, it's cool, right? It's called the Broadview Hotel. It's in Toronto. If anybody's in Toronto, it's a cool place. And and so it's wildly fun to get a record. It's been since my childhood.
They have a record player in the hotel room. What?
Yeah. And then you just say,
even in the day, hey, Adam, even in the day, they didn't have record players in hotel rooms.
I know. And now they've got it in there, trying to be swanky, and it's working. And it's like fun to get a gift that's crazy like this. Oh, double platinum. Yeah. And it's like, it makes you feel like at home, I don't really have a record player, but that feeling of putting the needle on there is amazing. And it's just, it's fun. I mean, I have a 3-year-old, so they might not survive, but but anyways.
Yeah, those things look kind of retarded. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Hey, you know what they tried? They tried to give us something a little extra special. Wow, you got a great brother there, man. That's a cool gift.
Yeah, that's cool.
Where the hell did he find that thing?
I think just like a small record store in a town over here. It's like really small.
Yeah,
it was pretty dope.
My daughter is what do they call them? Like not a technophile, but she's like into vinyl.
Yeah.
And so she's got a good collection of vinyl. And when she was young, I got all my vinyl from when I was a kid. So she ravaged my collection. And so not only did she play them, but she also hung the albums up on the walls because they could double as like a kid's room, like a teen's room. You want to be rebellious and you want cool stuff on your wall. So just pin up, your dad's albums. So she had like Ozzy Osbourne's Diary of a Madman, and like she had a lot of the Kiss albums up, and like Love Gun and stuff like that. And I don't think my wife knew what to make of it, but I thought it was cool.
That is cool. That's awesome.
And it broke my heart because when she stayed in California, we moved here, so we had to take down the albums, and I had to bring them with me because she was not going to get them.
Oh dang! Yeah, for some reason in this album,
for me to die to get my albums. But go ahead.
For some reason in the album there, Paul Stanley looks like Shelley Duvall. I thought that was really weird.
R.I.P. Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
Yeah, olive oil. Yeah. She can scream, man. That what was that movie with her in the hotel room with
Jack The Shining?
The Shining. Yeah.
So good. But she didn't do a lot after that stuff though, right? She was tortured by that director, basically.
Probably. I think that that Popeye came afterwards, so maybe that was her parting shot.
That was good.
But I had a friend that worked here, and her mother referred to her as she's got the shining, like that movie, and I'm like, whoa, that's kind of
bold statement.
Yeah, spooky. She's got the shining.
You got the shining. That's not a compliment for the record.
No, but she was kind of like one of those like Wiccan types, and there's a lot of interesting people in comics. So
No, I mean, in some ways, comics, certainly back in the day, right, Art, when we were kids, and also, now it's kind of like the refuge of sort of like the misfits, right, in lots of ways, which is why it was so cool initially. There's this comic shop by my place in Los Angeles called Revenge of Comics and Pinball, and it's this, and the guys who did it, they actually used to be my production designers on a TV series I was doing for Legendary that I was directing. They built the inside of the comic shop to be a big spaceship, and they have 20 brand new pinball games, and massive comic selection, and it's just become this mecca for geek hangout. It has tables and a drink cooler, and like it's really like this special experience. But it's interesting who shows up is like you're saying. It's sort of like all the misfits get assembled to this place. Some are buying comics, some are playing pinball, some are just hanging out. But it like created a destination for the misfits, which is kind of, I think, what at the core of what kind of comics, was, 30 years ago. that place. It's like, oh, dude, we're the misfits. This is where we go.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, the misfits got hijacked in some ways by certain causes and agendas, and so it's kind of like they're not really misfits anymore. They're just, you know. But
you know what happened, Adam, is like Marvel and Disney mainstreamed like superheroes and comic books, because before that, if you identified as a misfit, you got the shit kicked out of you. You know why? Like in the day, that's why I never identified as, you know, a comic book guy, because I had a friend growing up, and we collected comics together. I mean, he was a good guy and everything, but he didn't know to keep it on the down low when he got into like middle school, right? And so he would always get thrown into the trash can, and I would act like I didn't know him.
Well,
go ahead.
That's the thing too. Like I heard Mark Miller talk about this recently, where you realize now that comics was such a cooler subculture when a lot of people weren't into it, because it was like your thing. It was like this secret club that only you and maybe 12 other people at your school were into.
Right.
And now that it's mainstream, it takes the fun out of it. But he was saying that as it's like cyclical, so it seems like as time goes on, it's becoming cool again and less mainstream, seemingly to him.
Well, I think don't you think though what's happened though is I feel like superheroes have become the mainstream.
Sure.
Comics not, because sales have just done this.
Yeah.
But manga has really become the new destination for the misfits.
Mm-hmm.
I think where it's like you can still feel like you're on the cutting edge. You're finding this new thing when you have 4 Disney movies coming out this year that are all Marvel, and you have 5 TV shows and 500 different merch products.
Yeah.
You just can't say you're street or tough, or you just can't. You're not street. You're not like you cannot claim you like found the new thing. You just followed the crowd, right?
Right.
Whereas I think it's the non-superhero books that kind of lead that way. Nothing wrong with superheroes, but it's like that's the place where like kind of the dudes are still at, where it's like, oh, I found this thing. Because oftentimes, I post videos all the time across all socials, reviewing comics, and like when I do them on TikTok, they get big views, and lots of the responses are just like, oh, I've never even heard of these books. I've never even heard of these books, right? That there's like this idea of discovering something new and fresh. And I think that's why kids are so pushed away from mainstream comics, because it's like, can you really like feel like you're up to date on Batman if you're 15?
Right. Yeah.
It's not possible.
The thing is, like the stuff is more I don't know, I want to say relatable, but in a way it is more than superhero comics, because superhero comics, there's still tights and capes that you have to get past. And so it's kind of not like, if you're an older person, it's a little tough. It's a tough sell, but the manga stuff isn't as much. It seems like it's an easier entry, less baggage, all those things. And also, as far as cutting edge, like that stuff's, imported, from Japan, and so there's the cultural thing too. So you're right. It's kind of like, if it's harder to get or it's a little bit more taboo, then it's cooler in a way, and it attracts its own market. And because my daughter, like superhero comics didn't. I mean, I got all the books from Marvel and DC every month, so she could, rummage through the stuff. But there was very few things that she grabbed. But she loved, like, what's it called, Fruits Basket, and like a bunch of the Japanese manga stuff. And so that's mostly what was on her shelf. And then when she got older, it wasn't the superhero stuff. It was like the Vertigo stuff. Like she liked that stuff. And so there is kind of like this kind of like barrier, the gateway barrier. I do think it's just kind of like superheroes are kind of Weird.
Yeah, no, and it's what I appreciate about manga so much is also too, if you're a 15-year-old, because I was in a Hot Topic the other day and kids were buying manga at the Hot Topic, and they had somebody was getting a manga shirt, a shirt with a manga print on it, right? And I said, well, how come you're not getting the Batman one? And the kid said, oh, that's my dad's comic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's at its best because that 15-year-old can read all 10 volumes of Chainsaw Man in a month and like know everything there is to know about Chainsaw Man. And they can like know it and own it and the new thing, and their parents don't know it. And also too, because like there's 5 different sort of genres in manga. There's like shonen, which is like you think of action, Chainsaw Man, Fist of the North Star, Berserk. But then there's all these like romance and sports and other things. So it's just like it really is does something nice. And also the destination to get it is Barnes and Noble. So it's like,
or anywhere, or Hot Topic in every mall,
Topic.
Yeah.
It's the places where kids are already hanging out. Whereas unfortunately, I've toured comic shops across the world. I'm going to go see one here in Toronto. I've seen them, everywhere on the planet. And there isn't almost anything less inviting for kids who want to hang out than a comic shop. There's nothing to drink. There's nowhere to sit. And there's thin aisles.
So you're saying alcohol?
What I'm saying is, it's not alcohol because you're trying to get underage kids. But what I mean is, they just aren't a destination to hang out. And so,
but if there was alcohol involved, there would be.
There totally would be.
You need like a speakeasy.
Underage, you could get in there.
Look, there's this place by my house in Burbank called the Guildhall, and it's this bar built for board gaming. And so it has 600 games in it and all these interesting beverages and snacks that kind of relate to the games, and it's popping all the time.
Yeah,
because it's a place to hang out with your hobby versus like go in, get a brown bag of your pull list, and go out the door.
Yeah,
like it's just unfortunately that's not a very rewarding experience for people to do, and reading in itself is isolating. So if you could build a destination, like once again, Barnes and Noble, you see those packs of kids there. They go to the cafe, they sit on the floors, they hang out, they have a stack of manga.
Yeah.
Like they can go there. Like what does a group of 15-year-olds do in a comic book shop with thin aisles?
Yeah, you buy it and go home. Yeah, the thing is I thought for a while like monthly floppies should be digital, right? So I just kind of had this vision of like comic book shops, like the trades and like the highly collectible stuff. It's still all there, right? But there's almost like a vending machine like they have in Japan. Like you could go up, and so you have your phone or you have your device or whatever, and then you could go to this like kiosk, and then you could download all the floppies that came out that Wednesday, right? So you still have that kind of dynamic, the Wednesday, all the new comics come out, and then you download, and then like you're saying, Adam, you have a place where they can sit and read. So you have like, I don't know, a snack bar or like a place where they can get beverages and stuff. The only problem is you have to have different licenses, like especially if you try to open that in California, it would just, you wouldn't be able to do it. There's just too many hoops to jump through. But if you could make it easy enough for these businesses to do that, it would be kind of like Starbucks, with comic books. So you could go there, you could have your beverage of choice, you could sit, on nice, comfortable stuff, and you could download your comics and sit and hang out with your peers and read comic books. If and drink your coffee or whatever it is, soda, whatever, kids drink these days. Sunny D.
Boba. Boba is
oh yeah, dude. Boba
is the number one. So like I've thought about it because there's my comic book shop here. I've been talking about opening another shop, and I would pay for it and get in, have a shop. But one thing I'd always talked about was a boba and manga shop, right? A place where kids could go read manga, but drink boba, hang out, throw in some video games or pinball games, and you have an experience. And so, anyways, I don't think without a fixing of the experience, there's any chance, even like a tiny one, of bringing young people in. I just don't. I just don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot. And Art, it's
possible. Yeah.
awesome to hear you, talk about like the digital comics thing, because that's and people in the industry have been saying this for 20 years of like, oh, this is the next big thing. But right now, like literally, that's where the new generation is getting into comics. Like
they're digesting it on webtoons,
right? Which is crazy because, and it's totally unorthodox to what we're used to and what you're used to, Art, where people are putting their comics up on the internet for free on webtoons, right? So they're accessible to anybody, but they're reaping the rewards of building a fan base that way, making money probably on like Patreon, or they're doing so well on webtoons that webtoons is actually sponsoring them and paying them to now produce the comics online, and getting ad revenue and stuff like that. My my good friend, his wife has a super successful webtoon, and it's very family friendly, and it's about family, like parenthood and raising kids. It's called Litterbox Comics on webtoons, and crazy successful. She just launched a Kickstarter for an animated pilot episode based on her the comic, and she's almost like at 100K on that, and it's just been like a week. So it's crazy to see how how successful you could be at.
Well, I just think like for me, like digital, and I know there's a lot of people that are really set against this, and I don't think, see, the problem with the comics industry, I've been here for 40 years, been reading all my life. It's like there are people that they just subscribe to this like either or, right? So like comics needs to go in this direction. So then the whole industry has to go in this one direction, and then they play it out, they max it out, like trade paperbacks, and then they don't have anything to replace it. They take it to the extent, and then it bottoms out, and then they go, oh, now what are we going to do? And then they go in this other direction, and then they that becomes successful, and then they max that out. But I think these things have to work like multiple things at one time, right? It doesn't have to be either or. I think we like weekly comics or monthly comics floppies should be digital, and then possibly come out with prestige format stuff after or at the same time, or something like that, so you can get your collectors in there, and they can collect this high end, kind of like what Comicsgate does. We do like boutique, like high end books,
Sure.
collectibles and stuff like that. And so they could do that, and at the same time they could have like some kind of download kiosk where kids can go in and they could download. And also it just seems like Marvel, DC, there's a lot of format things that they could take advantage of digitally that they can't really do with comic books. One of them, like when I was a kid, there would be editorial notes. It's like, oh, you want to know more about Black Cat? Read this book. And then it would tell you to go to this book. Well, if Marvel was smart, you would be able to click on that editorial note and it could take you to that book. And then it would charge you for it or whatever. Right. So then you could actually, as you could be so immersed into it, you never have to close the book and go to the comic shop and get another one. You could just read, you know what I mean? Like you could click these things, go off on these tangents, read that, come back to that story. Now you have that information, you can keep going. And then you could actually write and design and create the comic book with these kind of adventures in mind. I was thinking like something like you could even have like a Shield database, right? And so if you want to know more about any character or whatever it is they're talking about, you could go to the Shield database and it would have all that stuff there, so you could find out whatever Shield has on Spider-Man, you'll know, or whatever it is. And so there's all kinds of fun interactive stuff that you could do that way. And also you could do them in many languages. So if you were to you live in Brazil and you download your Marvel or DC book or Comicsgate book, and then there's the app that says language, and so then you click the language and then you automatically get it in your language. So it just seems like you could attract a world market easier and a younger market, because like you said, Phil, it's like kids live on their phones these days. So if you can reach them on the format, in the format that is theirs, floppies, magazines, all that stuff, it is kind of going away. As hard as it is to say out loud, magazines don't sell overall, not just comic books, but magazines across the board. So there is a paradigm shift. TV's dying. Your radio has kind of been gone for a while, so like these things kind of go in cycles. So I just think that comic books as a medium and storytelling entertainment will never go away. I think it will always be there. But, we started off with records. It might be more of that, you know what I mean? Where it's kind of a niche thing, collectors, seek it out and think it's really, really cool. So it might be, more of that. So you'll still see comic book shops, but it'll be kind of like record stores,
Well, check this out, Art. Since we're talking about digital, I know Adam has used this. This is Global Comics, which is an online digital comic platform and reader. And I know Irene's put her books up on here, and I tried it out recently, and I put the first Lost pages on here. And this is really cool because now
it's a great spot.
Yeah.
Eric Tapper, one of the owners of it, I know him. And what's unique about it is, you can also deliver your digital comics this way because you can have passwords to get into them and other things. And it's an interface that's built for Western comics, but on your phone.
Yes. So check this out. So since we're crowdfunding right now, you could actually link your crowdfunder up here. It says Zade Comics is raising $3,000 for the Lost Pages on Indiegogo, which is the new Psycho Slumber. And you could click this button for people that follow me on this site, and it'll take me right to the crowdfunding campaign. So they're really supportive of creators and even crowdfunding sites. They even have Fund My Comic as an option to crowdfund and link through here. And then if, say, you want to read the Lost Pages, the first I put it, this is arbitrary for anyone that is a creator. You could set however many pages you want to be viewed for free. So you could just come here, and the other awesome thing is you do this panel by panel layout, which is really immersive. So you go to the first story, and it takes you panel by panel through the comic, and you highlight it yourself, and you get this really up close, kind of like new experience reading a comic digitally. So it's zoomed in. You could zoom in yourself here as well. So
wow, that's cool. That's a cool feature. Yeah.
And then the next page. So it's actually pretty fun to put together as well, because you're highlighting and outlining all these panels and stuff. It takes a little bit of time, but pretty cool. Just over having it a couple days, it's had over 300 views already, and every day I'm getting notifications that people are adding the book to their library on here to read later, or following us on there. And then once again, you just click here, support Zade Comics, and then it takes you to the actual crowdfunded campaign. So it's just another form of avenue pathing to promoting your own new project, Well,
while we're there, why don't you play the video and we'll talk about the new book, Psycho Slumber.
Alrighty. You guys can hear that, right?
Yeah.
In the dead of night, on the outskirts of Chicago, the line between reality and imagination blurs. And in the moment before you doze off, Simon wakes up to play. He'll seep into your sleep and turn your wildest dreams into your final nightmare. From the worlds of the Kill Journal and the Lost Pages comes this year's most horrifying comic crossover, Psycho Slumber. When the undead is in your head, it will take more than heroes to put it back to rest. You will need survivors. In Simon's world, the rules are his own, and the only way out is to play his game. This winter, Simon says, You're next.
Wow, that looks good, man. That looks
Thanks,
really,
man.
really good. That cover is badass.
Yeah,
Who-
Rob was.
Is that Rob?
Yeah, that's Rob. He crushed it for us. And then that's Valentina Bianconi, who did my book I did with Wesley Snipes, The Exiled. She did the colors. Came out awesome.
Yeah, that team, like, because they did the big cover from the Exiled, right? The one that sold it. Like, she's awesome on colors over Rob, and just so much
her and
atmosphere.
Rob did the cover of The Exiled that sold 60,000 copies.
That's crazy.
Issue 1. Yeah, that cover did great.
Yeah,
for an indie book in a, for a non-Marvel book in a comic shop, that's pretty good.
Yeah, insane. And like, I've been wanting to see Rob's version of Krim, the big purple guy, for years. Like when we were first crowdfunding, and we were gonna start crowdfunding the Lost Pages, I hit him up because I saw his work, and it's just awesome to see this come to fruition and have him draw Krim on the cover. And this is kind of the perfect combination and crossover. Adam, this is probably like last year sometime around C2E2 time, gave me a call, and he's like, I love what you're doing with the Lost Pages, and really think doing a crossover with the Kill Journal would be perfect. And that just got our juices flowing, and how we could smash these two stories together. Because what I love about the Kill Journal is it's like taking these like iconic tropes of 1980s slasher horror characters and reinvigorating them, and having their victims be these survivor characters that turn the tides on the slashers. So the hunted becomes the hunters to try to save the town and bring these undead supernatural revenants to justice. And playing in that sandbox was a lot of fun.
And it felt like a perfect fit, right?
Okay, how many pages is it?
It's a 6-page one shot.
60.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the line art is all done. Juan Gedeon did it, who did Jurassic League, and he's doing a run on Venom. But yeah, no, it's what I love about, like what Phil was saying, because I loved his book, The Lost Pages, because the hobo, right, in his story, anybody who doesn't know it, essentially The Lost Pages is a bit of an anthology story that centers around this character, the hobo, that has these book of lost pages, and in each chapter, so to speak, of the Lost Pages, there's a new story about various characters. Wildcard, the Silhouette, and in our story, Krim and Jess. Those are kind of my favorite characters from the Lost Pages world. They felt like a perfect fit because she's this, underground fighter, and she has this alter ego of this massive purple monster who sort of lives in this like, dream world, if you will. And so when putting these two together, I feel like, man, in the Kill Journal, it also has a book. The St. George, who's the preacher who's hunting these revenants, keeps all the records in a book, right? So it felt like their books needed to come together.
Yeah.
And what was cool is because Krim sort of lives in this, call it dream world, alternate reality, and then he slips into ours. He was perfect, sort of the perfect character to hunt this slasher, Simon, who invades people's dreams, right? Like he had a special insight on how to hunt this slasher. And so it was a cool way to mash it up. And then the characters' actual backstories to make sense that they're come together versus just coincidence or a big action moment. Like the characters are uniquely suited. Krim and Jess are uniquely suited to hunt this slasher.
Right. Yeah, this is like peanut butter and chocolate, man. This is perfect.
Right?
No, for real. Yeah. It's very, we tried to make it an organic crossover rather than have like a big portal open and people walk through, so it's set, kind of in both worlds where we could, ideally do this again, if this is a success and people like this, because there's a bunch of characters to play with, and coming up with Simon as this new slasher revenant character was a lot of fun. So, and we're even working with our colorist from the Lost Pages. He's also colored Magic Cop for us, And this scene takes place in the dream world. Jasmine falls asleep and then wakes up, and we really wanted to indicate that through color, having like this red undertone when someone is sleeping. So
what was that movie Dreamscape? Remember that? Like when they were in the dreamscape, there was like all this like sepias or whatever. It's like all monotone or whatever it was. That was cool. Hey, do you guys remember? I know I'm older than you, but wasn't there a toy they were called like Monster Balls or something like that?
Yeah, Mad Balls.
That is.
Yeah, I was like, that's cool, man.
So we actually, Shelby Robertson did a Mad Ball sticker for his character, Ragetality, and I saw that a few years ago when we were doing the Lost Pages too. And I'm like, could you design one with Crim? And so he did, and we put that out as a sticker. And then Eric Hutfuls from the chat, who makes like all these little muscle action figures, he was trying to make like CG Mad Balls, and he did a Crim one.
Oh, wait, hold on. This is cool.
Which is odd. My girlfriend actually just painted this up this week, and it turned out so good. It's squishy, it bounces, and I loved it so much. I hope we could make a bunch of these to sell them. But so cool. And I'm like, oh man, there's this perfect scene in this book in the dream world, because when Crim is in the imaginary world, he's like a cartoon character, right? He's got almost reality manipulation, or like the mask. So he could change his form. He can make big guns and all that stuff. So we made him like a wrecking ball in that Mad Ball form. So it's really fun.
Is awesome. That is so cool. I'm going to cut back and keep talking, man. This is good stuff. This is good stuff, you guys.
And one thing we loved about this as well too is like, with the Lost Pages, our character Jesse and Crim are kind of on a revenge path. They're vigilantes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this horror world, what we liked about smashing these two together is obviously Crim and Jess are no strangers to violence, but they're maybe not aware of this magnitude of sort of horror and violence and the rules of this world. So it puts Jazz and Crim like back on their heels in an interesting way, right? And like in our world, our toughest guy is like the scrawniest guy. It's Finch. He's got these two knives, and he grew up in a dog fighting pit, right? So he grew up in a dog fighting pit on the Mexico border. Revenant comes through, kills everyone. He's released. And so since his childhood, his dad just threw him in the ring to just tear these pit bulls apart. So he's got this crazy animal. And that he and Crim, who are opposite visually, like Crim's massive, Finch is tiny, kind of like the two tough guys on each side. So they make this sort of perfect combo of sort of Colossus and Wolverine, of like the scrap crazy one with the big guy behind him. Was a cool mashup. I think the Kill Journal is essentially a redemption story about people it's a story about people trying to pick the pieces back up of their broken life. It's people trying to recover from trauma, right? Everybody they know has been slaughtered by a revenant or a slasher. And now they've got to pick those pieces back up. And the way they do that is by joining the hunt to go kill other slashers, right?
It's kind of that catharsis, right? That's why I've learned like a lot of horror, why it's so popular and compelling is it's like that, the sense of like being on a roller coaster, being too close to danger and that thrill, but also this like cathartic feeling you get from reading horror.
Absolutely. Do these things with the chainsaw things, the blades, do they come out of the shadows? Because it looked like one was fading into a shadow or coming out of a shadow.
Yeah. So the way, since Simon is in this dream realm, we have here, you could see, this is during the intro of the story. He's hunting this guy, Johnny, who's trying to stay awake. Like he's been up for 4 days straight because he doesn't want to fall asleep and succumb to the terrors of Simon. And so as he's like dozing off, we kind of show the reader the silhouette of, the shadow of Simon melding into Johnny's shadow. So little indications that he's there lurking, which we had a lot of fun, sneaking those in there. Because this is before you ever see the slasher character. and then once Johnny falls asleep, then he pops out of the wall and he's in this other realm, right? All the colors change and the hunt begins.
Okay, okay, I got it. And then she's like saying, like, here's some no-dos or something, right? Like these pills will keep you awake or something.
Yeah, so he was actually the intro, which we did actually a preview book. So there we put 50 of them out. So there's some people that have read the intro to this story. So it's not like any crazy spoilers. So he's on the run. He just robbed this drugstore, and Jasmine and Krim are hunting him down, like because they're superhero vigilantes in the city. So they heard over the police radio that this pharmacy got robbed, and he's this crazy guy with a pistol running down the street. He's half asleep, but when Marty and Finch, come into the play, they're like, "Look what he stole." They're just uppers. They're like amphetamine, so he could stay awake. That's
Right.
why he took those pills, and he's like downing them, but he's been awake for so long he passes out during the altercation, and then has to deal with Simon.
Oh man, that's not cool.
Yeah, so it was super fun laying the story out, and kind
Are
of
they slapping him saying, "Wake up"?
yes, yeah. So you have these first two panels are in his dream, and then this last one's in reality. They're trying to wake him up.
I like the color cues. That's really neat. This is a good, well thought out
Thanks, man.
storyline. This is good. I mean, the art and the concept, everything.
Here's Crazy Simon's design.
Yeah, Oliver really did a fabulous job, because I loved this idea of a cement saw as the weapon.
Yeah,
because it's so over the top. It's so massive, that blade.
mm-hmm.
And it just like it levels up the chainsaw.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it. If you have a saw that can cut through like solid concrete,
yeah,
that's a little more intense than a tree. I mean, a tree, pretty hard, surface, but concrete, that's another thing right there. Yeah. But go ahead.
And we connected that to like everything in this story. We tried to come back around and like callbacks, because this story really is about Simon, and that's what I love about the Kill Journal is you get the sense of these victims, these survivors that have gone through trauma and come out on the other end, using their trauma to do good things and defeat these monsters. But on the other side of that, like a mirror, the monsters, the slasher characters, are the ones that have gone through trauma, and let it poison them and let it dement them into these evil killers. So the Lost Pages characters, the heroes, and the heroes from the Kill Journal, they're established, and you guys could also get the previous books on this campaign to learn all about them. But what this story is really about is the killer, Simon, and why he's like this. It's kind of like a psychological thriller at that point, where the team is trying to figure out what made Simon the way he is and how to reverse that, or how to stop that, because these are very supernatural characters.
Well, I think you said it best there. What I love about these Revenant characters is there's empathy for them, in the same way that Jason Voorhees was tortured as a kid at Camp Crystal Lake, and that turned him into this monster. That doesn't justify the killing of innocent people, but it makes them not just an empty, evil monster. It has an empathy towards it that resonates. And I think that's what's interesting about our character Simon in this, is although he's this revenant, there is another layer to that, and his suffering gives you empathy towards somebody who you should hate. And I think that's the twist of the Kill Journal. And I think that adding in Jazz and Krim helped give a different point of view to help really bring that to life.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there was a book I've read. I think it was called Silent Terror. I think there's been a movie or something, but I don't think it's based on the book. And it was basically about a serial killer. but it takes the serial killer from the very beginning, like before they killed or before he killed on. And then there's things that are relatable to the guy, like that. You're like, oh yeah, I've been there, blah blah blah.
Sure.
Yeah, and then it kind of sucks you in, and then the next thing you know is like you're like, I'm relating to a serial killer. This is really not cool, But it was really really well done, and I think one of the things, like for me, what connected is like. And a young man, you want to feel like that you can contribute something, like that you're building something, that you're worthwhile, and so this guy, young guy, ambitious guy, just looking for where he fits in, how he can, whatever, do something well, like I can write, I can draw, I can work on cars, I can do whatever, you're always looking for that. And so what he finds out is that he's really good at killing people, so that's like the thing. And so then he just finally, at some point, he just embraces it. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And also, like there's one thing about like early serial killer things that I like is that there used to not be a police data bank, right? So if you went state to state and you were a serial killer, they didn't share the information. So if you drove across the border and you even killed somebody the same way you killed them in the other state, they really didn't have any way of connecting these things. So I think in this book, one of the things that comes out is that the one cop finally figures out that this guy is just going, like, it's a yearly thing. He just kind of goes around, does these kind of like odd jobs. He's the unassuming guy. It gets his target, does this thing, and then moves on to the next state. And so this guy finally figures it out, and so he brings him down. But there's a scene with the serial killer where he finally gets caught, and he's in California. He's in jail with Charles Manson. And so then this guy knows how to play the game, and he goes up, and so he gets I guess you get privileges if you're in jail. So he gets to mop certain floors of the prison, and so he's mopping the floors because he wanted to meet Charles Manson. So he got up there, and he's looking at him, he's talking to him, and so then he just finally just looks at Charles Manson. He goes, "You're a poser." He goes, "You're nothing." He said, "You never got your hands dirty. You never did whatever." He goes, "You're nothing." And he kind of like, he just reduces Charles Manson to like just a puddle, like he just, because he's so intense, he just calls him out for being, what he is just kind of a pussy. and it was really cool.
What were you doing in the 1980s, and how many state borders did you cross back then? I'm just wondering.
In the 80s?
Yeah, when they didn't have this police database.
I'm not going to answer that question. It might incriminate me. Yeah. I was pretty well traveled in the 80s, so
that's good.
But I don't really have a taste for killing, though. I've tried it. I tried it, but it just didn't suit me.
Yeah, you get all the rage out with drumming and artwork. That's good.
Exactly. Hey, the new book looks great, you guys. The Psycho Slumber, Lost Pages. I've always been a big fan of Lost Pages.
Thanks, man.
Since Phil pitched it to me years ago now. How long have we known each other, Phil? Jeez.
Yeah, it must be like.
And was it 4 years ago when Lost Pages 1 came out? Phil,
I got the book right here. Let me see what we have. I think it's 2020.
See, Kill Journal.
Yeah, the thing I always thought was cool about Phil is like Phil had one foot in like old school, like pulp and story, all kinds of old school storytelling, and then he had like a foot in the new stuff, So I thought he was always kind of bridging this cool gap in entertainment. So what is this now?
Yeah, this is from the first book.
Yeah, see, Kill Journal first dropped in 2021, so that was 3 years ago when this came out.
Yeah.
So it was campaigning, the year before, so 2020. So wow.
Yeah, it's been a journey. It's crazy that we're on like the third Lost Pages, and now this crossover with the Kill Journal, and it's crazy to see that it's been 4 or 5 years, and pages of stories now. We've like 300 pages of the Lost Pages so far, which is super cool. And we're gonna keep going. Like,
So I think what your artist here did in this number 3, though, Bill, is it's like these pages. He really, he just really elevated this book.
Wow. Yeah.
To new heights. Like all the pages are just so great. Not that they haven't been good in the past, but it's like,
that's what we're, of course, moving forward, trying to put better and better stuff out. I think that's something that we all strive for. Yeah, Ricardo killed it on that, and Dan too.
Freaking cool. Double page.
So how many big names have you had? You've worked with Simon Bisley now, with Rob Willis. Who else have you've worked with?
Who else? I mean, Biz is probably the biggest one, right? We have actually, for this Psycho Slumber campaign, we're doing a variant cover with another big name that we haven't announced yet, and he's working on it right now. So we're going to be putting that up, and probably, hopefully, having him on a stream, or at least doing a video with him soon when he's done. He said he wants to do some like process videos on drawing the cover, but if you guys were members on our mailing list, you saw the layout of that, and I'm super excited. It's very like 80s horror style, and so it's an industry guy that is a good buddy of mine, so I'm excited for that. Yeah, Doug Mankey actually did a bookmark for us, and he actually did the quote. We have a quote on the back of the book for Lost Pages 3, so really excited. To be working with everyone. It's crazy to even like rub shoulders with guys like you, Art. Like I was a huge fan of your work, and I know you didn't like this project that you worked on very much, but I liked it. The Batman Cacophony and Widening Shadows. I heard you hated that, but
it was not a great work experience. Never meet people like, well, I was going to say people like they're your idols, but Kevin Smith was never one of my idols. But it was
Kevin Smith last night. A window of time. Like with Clerks, Chasing Amy, Jay and Silent Bob, Zach and Miri Make a Porno. He really, all the people that he brought to the table, the Ben Afflecks, Matt Damon, Seth Rogen, all these players, for a window of time in cinema, he was sort of a profound curator of great comedy talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of remarkable. I mean, he was never necessarily a great comic book writer or maker or any of that, but for a window of time, he really did something special.
Hey, Adam, hold that thought. I'm gonna take this super chat. Evil One for $2. Thank you. Only one poser I know here because he won't read Spawn. Who is that?
Evil One's trying to pawn these Spawn omnibuses off on me. I'm not having it.
I'm not having it. You better read it, Phil. These are threats now. These are threats, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Adam, I'm going to get this real quick. Luke says, I will always love Mallrats. The thing with Kevin Smith is he didn't stay in his lane. That's where
I agree. For a window, he was really doing incredible stuff. And then
where he veered, from my standpoint, is like, I'll give him that independent producer, director, writer. I think that he was a creative juggernaut, But the thing is, he did the Superman script, right? And then he threw everybody under the bus. Like he was saying, it wasn't my fault. It was all these guys' fault. So, but also nobody got to read the script at the time. So nobody really got to verify. So then all of a sudden he became some kind of comic book authority. Like he was some kind of diplomat that was the liaison between comic books and Hollywood, right? So he was kind of that guy for a while. And so then everybody in the comics industry held him up as like some kind of like comic book, like more than he was, right? Authority. And they were like, well, if I'm going to get something done,
I hear what you're saying. The problem
let me finish my thought because it's going to take a while. And so then you have this guy, you know, that kind of is the liaison. He's this guy, you know, so everybody's holding him up, you know, oh yeah, Kevin Smith. He's starting to write comic books now and everything. And then this is where like I started getting this feeling like that this guy's a little bit of a poser, right? As far as the comics is concerned. And so then there's this Pope character, this Radio Days character that I love, the Green Hornet, right? So Kevin Smith gets this like $300 million whatever movie, whatever the hell it was. It was like, it wasn't that much, but it was a lot of money as far as a budget. He got to write and direct it and all that stuff. And so then it wasn't coming out. It was taking a long time. And so then finally he backed out. And the reason I think he backed out, and the reason he backed out of things prior, is because he had built a brand, which was the Kevin Smith brand, but he wasn't really this creator. He was just Kevin Smith, right? Mm-hmm. And so he knew if he put that Green Hornet movie out after all this, like bagging on this, that, and the other thing, he's this authority. If that movie tanked, his whole brand would fall, right? So if that Green Hornet wasn't everything, that's the problem when you bag on things and you kind of make yourself out to be authority, and then you get the creative spotlight. If you can't perform, then guess what?
Yeah,
they tear you apart. And he would have lost everything. This is just a theory I have based on knowing personality types like him and kind of hanging out with him, not a lot, but during that book, you know, enough. And so I think he's a big chicken. I think he's afraid, and I don't think he has the shit. I don't think he has the goods to really pull it off. So I think he pulled back. And then if you notice, most of the stuff he does is just, it's brand. It's like Kevin Smith, the brand. It's not the property. It's not this. It's not that. It's just Kevin Smith, the brand. So anyways, Adam, that's my Kevin Smith 2 cents.
I'm not disagreeing with you, because it's a shame, because he went from a really great highlight
I agree.
Left the lane totally. Guys, I've got to run. I've got to jump here, meet with the agency here on this Snickers job I'm shooting. But Art, it's such a pleasure to be with you, dude. Mad respect for your work and your books. Thanks for having us on, man.
Hey, no problem, Adam.
Adam. It's good seeing you, brother.
Take care, guys.
We'll do more in the future.
I'd love that. Take care, man. Bro.
For sure. Yeah. I got the feeling that maybe he's a Kevin Smith fan. So
he's a Hollywood guy.
I stepped all over Adam's feet. Yeah, there. Yeah, I burst his hero worship. Yeah. But yeah, I don't. Hey, if anybody knows Kevin Smith, tell him I said he's a poser. I don't care. I have like 6 issues of the follow-up, Phil, to that story.
That never came out.
Yeah, it never came out because I think it was supposed to be 12 issues, Cacophony or whatever the hell.
Yeah. Well, and, the reason I love that is he kind of like, I don't know, you could tell like he's a fan of the characters because he puts all kinds of characters in his books, you know, like Etrigan. Like Etrigan was in that run. That's one of my favorite scenes from that with Poison Ivy, Batman, and Etrigan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had Etrigan in his Green Arrow run as well. I mean, I'm just a big Etrigan fan, but I liked his Green Arrow stuff and that Batman stuff. It's not like mind blowing or anything. It's kind of like he puts that little bit of fan service that wasn't in comics at the time in there. And I heard like Luke in the chat, Death Metal Hero, says his Marvel Knights Daredevil stuff was good too.
Yeah, I think that would probably be my favorite. And even still, I found I had some problems with it. Let me get Evil One. Thank you so much, man. $2 word of the day is poser. Pee-wee scream. Ah! So every time we say poser, everybody in the chat, you know, type in a scream. So this could be fun. Yeah, I mean, it's just a personal thing. It's not like I wanted, you know, that guy to kind of crash and burn, but I think there are people that are just really good at taking care of themselves. Like at some point Kevin went from like a creative person to like a brand. So Kevin Smith is a brand now. So everything that he does benefits the brand versus maybe the project, right? So he's going to bring like the Kevin Smith isms to anything he does, because somehow it's more about him than it is about He-Man or about whatever the project that he's working on. So but hey, more power to him. The problem with working with people like that is because that you'll just be used and abused. You know what I mean? They don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not team players. Let's just put it that way. But what was it? Walter Flanagan, who was the artist. So just to answer, you know how you said he did all this fan service stuff in the Batman stuff, is actually Walter wanted. He just had a list of stuff that he wanted in the story.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of that stuff was entering into it just because of that. And the stuff you haven't seen, it just becomes a cluster F of like cameos. Like it's kind of like Deadpool 3 before Deadpool 3. Like
that's funny.
It's just a bunch of craziness. Yeah.
Well, that just shows you like how much pull Kevin had, because Walter didn't do anything before that, did he? He was just his buddy.
Yeah, it's just his friend. Yeah.
And
the whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing.
Insane. You're able to get your buddy artist on a Batman book because of who you are, that this guy's worked at a comic shop for the last 15 years.
He didn't work his way up from like Dial H for Hero or any like obscure book. Like he was just boom, here's Batman, you know. And the thing is, like, I'm a huge Batman fan, and like, but this wasn't the project. Like, it's like, you know, like I waited, you know, most of my career, like all I wanted it to ever do was work on the Batman title film, like since I got in the business. So, you know, I don't know, 35 years into it, still, you know, I've done cameos of Batman in other books and stuff, but not the Batman book or detective or anything like that. So here's this Batman miniseries with this prestigious writer and everything. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. Yeah. And oh my gosh, it was one of the worst working experiences I've ever had in my life. Yeah. And be careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys, let me see. I'm going to get this link and I'm going to drop it into the chat. And this is for Psycho Slumber Lost Pages. This is the reason for the season. Right. So click that link right here. Go. If you like what you see, give it a backing. Phil is good people. He's done multiple projects, always fulfills. He is a one-man wrecking crew. Usually, you're even doing lettering placements, lettering, and you're doing.
Yeah, I'll be doing the letters on this book as well. So I'm doing letters, writing, and the cool thing about Psycho Slumber is all of the line work is already done. So it's 60 pages is completed. We even had an art assistant come on to fix some stuff and to juice some stuff up on that. So all of this, all we need now is help from you guys to get it colored, 60 pages of colors, and lettered and printed. And if we could make that happen, then we should be able to ready to go to print before the end of the year. So that would be amazing. That would be 2 Lost Pages titles out this year. And it's a ton of fun. And even on here, we have some of the black and white pages for you guys to see on the campaign. So definitely check that stuff out.
Wow. I don't know if anybody in Comicsgate has done 2 consecutive, like the same title, like 2 books in 1 year, like got them out.
Yeah. We kind of like planned it like that because I knew that Adam wanted to do this. You know, we locked down which characters we were going to throw in, you know, with Crimstone. And I specifically did that because the new Lost Pages 3 was all about Crimstone. So people that have read this already, these are all shipped out. They'll know all about the characters and they could grab a book that has them in it, you know, right now.
Yeah. Are there going to be more? Like, is this? Are you still going to explore the Lost Universe or the Lost Pages? Universe. Are you still
Yes.
going to tell more stories?
Yeah. So this previous book, Lost Pages 3, ended kind of like on a little sneak peek of what's to come. So we've been having these books explore each hero fully. So this last one was Crimstone. The next one's going to be our sorcerer type, almost like Doctor Strange type character. His name's Wildcard. That's going to be all about him. And then the 5th book will be about the Masquerade. And then the 6th is like it's all the culmination to book 6, where it's like this overarching, all the heroes meet each other. There's almost like an event, we're trying to build where they have to team up to prevent a big disaster from happening. So yeah, we're gonna keep going.
So what's next after Psycho Slumber?
So now that I have a little free time to get back to writing our own stuff, because I was actually hired to write a different story for another company, and so my brother and I are gearing up to do another Magic Cop, which was our first crowdfunded book that we did. That 1980s.
Magic Cop.
Yeah. So
I still remember that the Kelsey Shannon cover too.
Yes, yeah, he killed it on that. So we're gonna do Magic Cop 3, which is gonna be a lot of fun. I have it plotted out and started like bullet point, marking the story, and that's gonna be the next thing we work on. But we have some other stuff in the works that actually might crowdfund before that, but we'll see. So next year is going to be big because we got some stuff we haven't shown off yet. I've been working on a Western, like a supernatural fantasy Western, I would say, that I think people are going to really dig. So, yeah, but it's all about getting Psycho Slumber printed, colored, and out there. So definitely check that out, guys.
The book looks fantastic. How did you and Adam, like, how are you working? Like, are you both like jamming? Like, if one guy has an idea and then riffs off the other, or who's writing what? Like, I always wondered, like, because he's writing on this, right? Or is he just letting you use his character?
Well, yeah, we're both writers. And like I said, he came to me and he's like, I got this idea. I want to do this crossover. Like, awesome. What do you think about, having these two characters go up against someone like a slasher that kills you in your sleep? And he's like, that's perfect. And so we kind of plotted it out together, conversation wise, and he just threw it to me to write the full script. Then I'd bounce it back to him and he would edit it and kind of tweak dialogue that he thinks, of course he knows his characters better than I do, so that he knows how they're going to speak. And so we would bounce it back and forth after we got the script back. And then once we had that final script, we threw it to the artist and just made tweaks along the way. So it's been this really cool, cohesive process, collaboration between us. It's been fun.
Yeah, that's cool. So what is this right here you sent? You want me to post this up? Show it
Oh, yeah,
off?
you could show that. This is just some more pages. So this is some of the black and white pages because we only had a few colored for the campaign. So we threw some extra ones on the actual project page to show off.
So wait, that's cool. We go to that first panel, first and second. So that's him transitioning from like sleep world to waking up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that first panel, he's dozing off, and then the second one, he wakes up in the dream world, right?
And those will be colored different too. So like the second panel there with the eye open, it'll be more with reds and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then you get the buzzsaw cracking out from.
Oh, I thought that was blood. So that's the buzzsaw coming at his crotch.
Yeah.
There. Because I saw that there was another page that had like that that cut in it. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's a gnarly looking saw, man.
Yeah. So
your colors did a good job too, making it like look like it's moving.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the key to making those things look deadly, and it really does look like it's spinning.
So this is kind of the crew meeting up for the first time. Of course, the the kind of like leader character, Saint George. He's this priest, and he works out of this church. And even we threw in like a little cameo of the hobo out in front. He's got
Oh
his
yeah.
shopping cart filled with stuff. And this is Jasmine explaining Krim, because no one else could see him. He's imaginary. Only she can. So they're like, "Where's your partner?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, he lives in my head." And even the artist threw some cool like stained glass in the background. So it's really cool, ornate texture for the background.
Yeah, that doesn't look very religious, but it's cool.
Well, he's got his face in there a bunch.
It's got the Krim face in there.
Yeah. But if you guys haven't read any of the previous stories, they're up here as add-ons, or you can get the catch-up pack, which will get you all the stuff to get up to date with these characters. And then we also have an exclusive shirt that we're selling on the campaign as well.
That design looks fantastic. Who came up with that?
My buddy Alan, who does a lot of work with us, he goes by the Howl Comics. He's done some Magic Hop work for us and the Masquerade from the Lost Pages, and he's just awesome designer. He designed the logo as well. So we wanted kind of like
some that would be in Hot Topic. I mean, this is really well designed. Like, even if you didn't know like what Psycho Slumber or anything was, you'd want to wear the t-shirt. You know what I mean? Because it's just freaking cool looking.
That's awesome to hear. Yeah, we wanted it to be like a heavy metal band shirt, or even like a 80s horror flick, movie poster shirt.
So. Yeah, this is better than a movie poster. Like this,
Thank you.
Yeah, this is cool looking. Yeah, just brilliant design. So when you talk to, is it Howell or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
Tell him I said this looks really fantastic.
Cool.
The Psycho Slumber logo is really well done as well.
Yeah.
You do top quality stuff, Phil. Like you just
Thanks,
do, man. The teams you put together, all the books are just fantastic. And if anybody is on the fence, I'll vouch for Phil Diaz and his brother Brandon. They do great work, and they get stuff out, and they do it in a timely fashion. So very, very driven, these two, and put out some good stuff. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Do you have a parting shot, Phil?
Everybody just go check that out. Spread the word too. If you guys already backed, shouting us out on social media really helps us. Any support is awesome. And then if you guys haven't backed yet and you ever signed up for our emailing list, check your email, because there's some secret perks that have discounts to them. So remember to use those, if you are part of our email list. Yeah.
Is that t-shirt an add-on? Can they get that as an add-on?
Yeah, you could add it on to anything. And you could also, there's a t-shirt and book pack as well. And then if you guys ever backed from us, you'll probably remember our previous campaigns. We do these special like sketch card giveaways, we're doing giveaways later this month as well. But also every Monday we put up new sketch cards to sell. So look out for that in the update section. We just sold these yesterday or Monday.
Hold on. Are these sketch cards?
Yeah, these are from my buddy Dan Dahl. He is an amazing artist. And these went up at like 2:00 and they didn't last. People snagged them up. So next week we'll be putting up some new cards from a new amazing artist. So remember to check back on the campaign.
That's a lot of detail for such a small little space.
No, they're crazy.
I'm gonna show something off. I just remembered that I think I have a campaign coming up, so I need to get some promotion done for this. So you guys, this is Black and White Volume 3, Sins of the Father. So this page just went off to the colorist today, or yesterday actually, and this is page 6 from the book. So I'm working with Aaron Sparrow. He's my co-writer, and we're pretty far into this. And I'm working with a breakdown artist, Alan Patrick. He did the 4 pages of the epilogue in Black and White Volume 3. So he's doing really loose breakdowns. So I'm coming in here and I'm finishing the hell out of this stuff.
Yeah,
redrawing stuff like this black figure is mine pretty much. And so it's kind of a neat jam between artists on this. So I give him the layouts, and then he comes up with breakdowns, and then I do the finish work over it. So I think this is going to be a really cool looking combo. And the story is fantastic. Every one of these black and white stories is going to become more epic as we go. But I really do want to like ground these two characters in some kind of reality, and then kind of build the world. So as they become, more comfortable and black and white become more of a thing, then their world's going to expand. So instead of just like regional characters, that are taking care of business, they're going to become like international characters. So I do want to like kind of bring in some of that spy, like James Bond stuff in there with the espionage, and like just like these fantastic like places in the world that they go as a backdrop, Spain, just different, completely different locations from time to time. I want to go someplace that's tropical so I can get Whitney back into a bikini if possible. So anyways, you guys, this is a nice little teaser. This is a little bit of what you can expect from the upcoming Black and White Volume 3. And I like this little villain dude that's laying on the ground. He's kind of like an old like Marvel kind of Hulk character with a giant head, and all that stuff. So yeah. I always think like if you're gonna shorthand like a mastermind character, you always make him bald and with a big head. That's like the shorthand visual. So so they just kicked that dude's butt, and now his robot is running amok. So Reed, aka Black, is shouting some orders to Whitney, and you're going to find out what happens. It's not going to go well for Reed in this situation. But anyway, yeah, this is what you can expect.
So cool
for Black and White Volume 3. So we're moving along too, Phil, with this stuff. And so 3 and 4 are going to be like Volume 1 and 2. It's going to be a 2-part story. So each one of like Volume 1 and 2 was kind of Whitney Sung's origin. So we kind of got into like her backstory, things like that. So in Volumes 3 and 4, we're going to explore more of what happened to Reed and why he is the person he is present day. So by the time we get done with 4, these should be fully realized characters. Our audience should feel good about, like they should feel like, yeah, I know these guys, I know these people. And also like one of the things I wanted to do with Origins is because like I grew up where like Origins were like 8 pages of the book. Like the first issue of Batman, it's like boom, his parents are killed, he's Batman, you know what I mean? And so I wanted to do something between like the old school way where you explore the origin with issue 1 and so on. And like the new form, like kind of like what Bendis was doing, like with Spider-Man, the Ultimate Spider-Man, where he kind of explored the origin over many, many issues. So he didn't even don the Spider-Man costume until like issue 3 or 4 or something like that, right? So he really kind of played all the nuances to get to that point. And so with Black and White, I want to do that, but I think I did it in a, like you could only do that with an established character. Like Bendis could only do what he did with Spider-Man, because people know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, so they'll have the patience to go 6 issues before he puts the costume on. Where if you're launching something brand new like they did in the 60s, you got to get him in the suit right away. You got to show who he is, all that stuff. But like Black and White is like a hybrid, I think, of the 2 ideas. So I got him in the suits right away, and then we're going to get to see like origins reveal as the story goes. So you're going to learn more and more about them. So I think it'll be cool. But one for $2, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you offer senior citizen discounts, Phil? What is that, HB man? What is HB
birthday
man? Oh, happy birthday, man. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. I got keep putting these books out because I'm only getting older. You know, I'm 31 now.
Yeah, but will you give a discount to Evil One if he buys?
Yes,
If he,
only for him though.
if he can prove that
He's
he's
so
over
old.
65 or whatever, whatever that age is, which
That's
I'm
right.
not there yet, but I'm closing in. This October, man, I'll be 63. Crazy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Andino says, when you close in Doodles of Poodles, I'm not sure yet. So the live part of the campaign is done, and so we're in demand right now. And I'm not sure like about running or having two campaigns going on at the same time. So I may close it in October. I'm not sure. We're just going to see how it goes. But the book should go out to the printers this week. So the files will go out for Oodles, and the book should be fulfilling before Christmas. So that's what we're working towards at this point. So let's see what Luke says. Art doing the Lord's work, giving us White in a bikini again. We got people yelling Phil with a lot of L's.
What's
in
up,
the
Baz?
chat.
Good to see
Baz says, Phil. Yeah, until death, man. I'm taking until I can't create anymore. I think I'm just going to keep creating black and white stories and chrono mechanic stories until the arthritis sets in, right?
Ooh,
My
yeah.
gnarled up. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody in the chat for hanging out with us for a Hacks chat. We haven't done one of these in a while. It was good to catch up with Phil Diaz. We had Adam Lawson in here, another really gifted writer creator in our realm of IP creations. And yeah, thank you so much, Evil One, for the super chats. I always appreciate that. And let this be an example for everybody out there. Super chats make the world better.
It's true.
So when you're listening to Phil on his YouTube, just keep flinging him $2. You know, it's kind of like a stripper. Just kind of make it rain. You know, just kind of keep throwing those bucks.
I'll dance for money. You know?
I'll dance like a monkey. All right, man. Well, you guys take care. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you soon.